What's good, guys? It's Billy. Welcome back to Midnight Evil. Let's get it. Chapter 1. Little Maggie O'Brien was the first. The children had been praying in Hogan's Forest when they all heard a noise. Am I stupid? At least they don't progress without me reading. Hold on. I think I'm stupid. Chapter 1. Little Maggie O'Brien was the first. The children had been praying in Hogan's Forest when they all heard a noise. The children had been praying in Hogan's Forest when they all heard a noise. Sensing no danger because there were so many of them, 12 children in all decided to investigate the source of the strange sound. Sensing no danger because there were so many of them, 12 children in all decided to investigate the source of the strange sound. Damn it! Sensing no danger because there were so many of them, 12 children in all decided to investigate the source of the strange sound. Are you dead ass? Sensing no danger because there were so many of them, 12 children in all decided to investigate the source of the strange sound. Sensing no danger because there were so many of them, 12 children in all decided to investigate the source of the strange sound. English or Spanish, boy? Alright, do it again. Sensing no danger because there were so many of them. What the Sensing no danger because there were so many of them. 12 children in all. Oh, I see. Sensing no danger because there were so many of them. 12 children in all decided to investigate the source of the strange sound. I was messing up at that in all part. As they all searched high and low, they soon realized that Maggie was missing. Frantically, they began searching for their friend. She was a small girl who loved to play hide and seek. Her big brother Colin insisted that her big brother Colin insisted that she was probably hiding somewhere safe and giggling to herself as she watched everyone search for her. What the freak? Hey, this is like Boogeyman a little bit. The sun sank low in the sky and the forest grew dark. The children, frustrated and panicked, ran back to the village to alert their parents that little Maggie was nowhere to be found. The children, frustrated and panicked, ran back to the village to alert their parents that little Maggie was nowhere to be found. That's when everyone lit torches and spread out through the woods calling her name. That's when everyone lit torches and spread out through the woods calling everything. It worked. How did that work? I just spat some random language and it worked. Oh my god. Yo, nah, that's crazy. Whoa, what? Chill. The little girl's mother sobbed desperately as we all inspected every corner of those woods in hopes of finding her. The little girl's mother sobbed desperate. What the? What? The little girl's mother sobbed desperately as we all inspected every corner of those woods in hopes of finding her. The little girl's mother sobbed desperately as we all inspected every corner of those woods in hopes of finding her. Her brother kept searching, tears streaming down his cheeks. I'm her big brother, he said, rubbing his eyes. I said it. Oh, you crazy. I'm her big brother, he said, rubbing his eyes. Oh, you crazy. Hey, I'm dying. I'm dying here. Heart attack. Ooh. I'm her big brother, he said, rubbing his eyes. I'm supposed to make sure nothing happens to her. It's not your fault, Colin, I assured him. We'll find her soon. We'll find her soon. And she'll be no worse for the wear. We'll find her soon, and she'll... What the? Stop. Stop. We'll find her soon, and she'll be no worse for the wear. He nodded, forced a smile, and we all continued looking the moment I heard him scream. The moment I heard him scream, I knew he had found her. The moment I heard him scream, I knew he had found her. Crazy. The moment I heard him scream, I knew he had found her. Or rather, what was left of her. Which wasn't much, we were sure it was Maggie because she had worn her favorite hair bow that day. Or rather, what was left of her. Damn it. Or rather, what was left of her, which wasn't much, we were... Help. We were sure it was Maggie because she had worn her favorite hair bow that day. I said it though, I said it. We were sure it was Maggie because she had worn her favorite hair bow that day. My father plucked the pink ribbon from the body, and it fell to... Damn it! Her father plucked the pink ribbon from the body and fell to his knees, wading into the darkness. Wailing, I mean. That somehow passed. Poor Colin tried to tell us that... Oh, it worked. He said that she had been covered in what he described as little green men. The freak? They were fat and green, he stammered. With bright glowing eyes, they were biting off bits of skin and flesh. No one believed the lad. Ugh. Well, we all attributed the horrible ordeal to a hungry wild animal. Of course, what else could it possibly be? Of course, what else could it possibly be? Scooping up what remained of little Maggie. The townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. We had no idea the horrors that were... Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. We have to say it again. Hey, heart attack, whoa. Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. We had no idea the horrors that laid ahead. Alright, know what? I'm gonna pull some unspeakable stuff. Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. Agrita, aguda, da 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 da. Didn't work. Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. What am I doing wrong? Alright. Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. 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 Oh my god. Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. I'm saying it though. Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing for her funeral. We had no idea the horrors that lay ahead. Okay. Yeah, you work now. I thought to myself how strange her wounds looked. I thought to myself how strange her wounds looked. Stop. I thought to myself how strange her wounds look. We're good. I couldn't help but think back to what Cohen had said about the little green men. It made me think of stories my grandmother used to tell me. She said that our druid ancestors spoke of tiny creatures that lived long ago in the swamps and marshes surrounding our lands. The Earthlings had called them. Oh. The Earthlings, she called them. Calm down, calm. The Earthlings, she called them. There were 3 tribes, each being their own breed of evil one tribe. Wait, my bad. One tribe, I recall, she said, were green and fat. They would lure children away from safety and feast on their flesh. We didn't live near any swamps. Surely the boy's mind was playing tricks on him. Besides, the Earthlings weren't real. They couldn't be. They couldn't be. You know, I'm bad at reading. I think it's because I speak too fast, and not only that, I talk a lot of trash. 13 minutes? Yeah, I'll go again. Alright. Maggie O'Brien's funeral was just what anyone would expect. Chill. Everyone did their best to comfort the grieving parents. Colin kept to himself. Look, I'm not seeing the dots here. I don't like this font. I don't like it. It's hard for me to I'm kind of dyslexic, so everyone assumed it was because he blamed himself after his sister had been laid to rest. I came to him to ask how he was doing. After his sister had been laid to rest, I came to him to ask him how he was doing. Busta. After his sister had been laid to rest, I came to him. After his sister had been laid to rest, I came to him to ask him how he was doing. After his sister had been laid to rest, I came to him to ask him how he was doing. Yeah, we did. He looked up at me, eyes red from either crying, lack of sleep, or a combination of the two. And I said, I really saw them, the little green monsters. My heart ached as I put my arms around the boy. I kept telling myself that seeing her little sister in pieces couldn't have been easy for him. He was just in shock. The stories of the Earthlings were only told to scare the children into doing what they would. My God. Calm down. The stories of the Earthlings were only told to scare children into doing what they were told, that was all. The first thing my grandmother told me about the Earthlings was that there were 3 tribes. The green ones had round bellies and piercing blue eyes. She said they could be heard if you walked deep in the swamp at night. They would laugh and sing as they danced around their tiny campfires, which would appear only as tiny flickering lights through the trees. Oh, I hate when they do that, because I said it too, I read it. They would laugh and sing as they danced around their tiny campfires, which would appear only as tiny flickering lights through the trees. Chill. They were the least lethal of the 3 tribes, but every bit as evil. Stop. I don't know what that was. Block of data? What the hell? The red ones were more temperamental. Wait. The red ones were more temperamental and even faster than their green cousins. They didn't sing or dance around campfires, and their celebrations were a bit more gruesome. They prefer to eat children from the inside out. I didn't see the dot. They prefer to eat children from the inside out. They prefer to eat children from the inside out. You got it, bro. You got it. You good. We go. We did. It was even thought by some that they were only red because they stained by the blood of their victims. It was even thought by some that they were only red because they were stained by the blood of their victims. Fiery red, bristly-like hairs sprouted from the tops of their heads, and their glowing yellow eyes seemed cold and calculating. Fiery red, bristle-like hairs sprouted from the tops of their head, and their glowing yellow eyes seemed cold and calculating. Not to do it again. Hey, heart attack. Fiery red, bristle-like hairs sprouted from the tops of their heads, and their glowing yellow eyes seemed cold and calculating. Fiery red, bristle-like hairs sprouted from the tops of their heads, and their glowing yellow eyes seemed cold and calculating. The pale Earthlings were in all... Yeah, you messed it up, but... The pale Earthlings were in another class altogether. They had white... They had white skin and wild, untamed blue hair that flowed out in every direction. Ugh. The most unsettling thing about them was that they had no eyes at all, yet they somehow were the most keen and efficient killers of the 3. We're good. We gone. Grandmother said that their long, wily... Restart. Grandmother said that their long, whirly hair could somehow sense the presence and locations of children. You, buddy, you are... Yeah. We gone. There were some things that all 3 tribes had in common. Earthlings preferred to eat after... I didn't see the dot. Earthlings preferred to eat after midnight and would only attack if the child didn't make direct eye contact with them. Gotta restart. Earthlings preferred to eat after midnight and would only attack if the child didn't make direct eye contact with them. Earthlings preferred to eat after midnight and would only attack if the child didn't make direct eye contact with them. Man, Earthlings preferred to eat after midnight and would only attack if the child didn't make direct eye contact with them. Got it. See, like, I go too fast, I think, and I kind of stumble over my words. Like, I don't know. I reassured myself that the O'Brien girl being attacked barely after sunset meant that she had to have been the victim of a wild animal attack. A few of the men in the village came together to hunt down the beast that killed the girl. I said it. Chill. Hey, we gon' stop. A few of the men in the village came together to hunt down the beast that killed the girl. Stop playing with my things, bro. They came back 2 days later, carrying the carcass of a large wolf. The whole village breathed a sigh of relief, and a big celebration was held. Oh! God damn it, you fugly. Hey, you was too close, gang. The only one besides myself that remained anxious was Colin, looking at his face. Get out. Looking at his face that night, I knew that he believed the creatures that killed Maggie were still out there waiting. Looking at his face that night, I knew that he believed that the Damn it. Looking at his face that night, I knew that Looking at his face that night, I knew that he believed the creatures that killed Maggie were still out there waiting. Damn it. Looking at his face that night, I knew that he believed the creatures that killed Maggie were still out there waiting. He was right.
WIGS FM 98.7 Game Talk.
Hello, darkness. Welcome to the top of the hour. Again, I'm your host, Nick Gloom, filling in for Nate tonight. That was an interesting hour, I must say. I don't know, Janet, I feel like these kids don't like me. Hey, Janet, do you like me? And she's walking away, folks.
Damn.
Anyway, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Nick, just calling in, wanted to say that you suck.
I just had a feeling that was coming. I feel like I'm not as approachable as Nate is. Oh yeah, so anyway, I forgot there's a sponsor slot I was supposed to fill last hour. This one goes out to all you greasy, pizza-faced listeners. Are you tired of popping pimples?
What?
Ew, gross. Do some zits appear over and over and you have to keep popping them? Gross. Kind of like that popular video game, Mole Whacker? From the creators of Simple Pimple comes the revolutionary cream, Pimple Buster. The all-in-one, scientifically formulated pimple-destroying cream. Call 155-PIM-PLES. But hurry before supplies run out. That's 155-PIMPLES. You know, Janet, I think Evil Midnight could use some Mole Whacker inspiration. Something to keep the player on their toes. Or at least that last prank caller could drink some of that Pimple Buster. I don't know what it is.
Wow. We're ending it here. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, click the bell icon. All my links are in the description, and I'll see y'all next time.